Part 122. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1211. Yes, there are so many Dragon God Realm experts this time, what use are we? Didn't you say that even Zhongzhou sent Dragon God Realm experts over? How should we respond? Master Tomb, are you joking? Xiaoxian and Bai Ling looked at each other. Both of them had some doubts and confusion on their faces. After all, according to normal principles, if the green flame staff is really born, it will definitely be an extremely remarkable thing, and even the strong men in the Dragon God realm will attach great importance to it. Why is it said that the competition this time is mainly among young people? Could it be said that so many strong men in the Dragon God realm would stand by and watch the green flame staff? This is a bit ridiculous, right? Think of this. Xiaoxian and others had more doubts on their faces. This is one of the information I know, said the Tomb Spirit Master. Now the green flame staff is in the cemetery of an ancient strong man. Only people below the Golden God realm can enter the cemetery. Below the Golden God realm? Why? Mr. Chen was also a little surprised. Is it possible that your flame cemetery still has so many restrictions? For these words, Tomb Spirit Master seemed to have understood this for a long time. Old man Chen, don't underestimate our flame cemetery. Master Tomb Spirit shook his head. Actually, even if I have been in the flame cemetery for so many years, I can't guarantee how much I know about the flame cemetery. You don't even know about the flame cemetery? Mr. Chen couldn't believe it. Yes, in fact, the flame cemetery is far more mysterious than all of you imagined. In addition to the flame that has been burning for thousands of years, there are countless various ancient inheritances in the flame cemetery, Tomb Spirit Master said. Among them, there are some inheritances at the level of ancient saints. That's understandable. However, the flame cemetery has existed for many years, and there are so many strong men from various sects in it. Is it possible that the secrets within it have not been found after all these years? Mr. Chen was also a little surprised. If this is true, no wonder it attracts powerful people from Zhongzhou to come and explore the secrets. Good. Especially the most powerful tomb among them, named Old Man of the Valley. According to my understanding, this should have been an ancient saint. Tomb Spirit Master's face was solemn. In the entire flame cemetery, no one has been able to enter that area in these years. Perhaps, this is the reason why the strong men from Zhongzhou came. Speaking of which, Xiaoxian and Bai Ling also looked solemn. They all know what the inheritance of an ancient saint level means. If there is a secret to becoming an ancient saint in this tomb, then it is very likely that some strong people who have been stuck in the Dragon God realm for many years can achieve the saint realm. This is an opportunity that almost all Dragon God Jin dreams of. But, does this kind of opportunity really exist? For a moment, Mr. Chen couldn't help but become interested. How? Could it be that an old guy like you is not interested in this ancient saint level power? No matter what level of cultivator it is an extremely crucial help. Over the years, let alone the Golden God realm, even the powerful Dragon God realm have been destroyed by this flame. You can say that. What's the deal here? Indeed. Mr. Chen said impatiently, is it possible that you still want to tease us? The people present suddenly fell silent. These are all true. Xiaoxian and Bai Ling were a little surprised. The Tomb Spirit Master shook his head in embarrassment. That's not the case, but the rules are exactly what I just said. Only cultivators below the Golden God realm have the opportunity to enter his tomb. I'm afraid no one knows this. However, from my understanding, this scenario is basically impossible. Important stuff? Tomb Spirit Master said seriously. Over the years, there have been countless strong people who wanted to understand the immortal way, but unfortunately, no one has understood anything from this flame. You old tombstone, tell me if you have anything to say. In this case, there may be danger here, Mr. Chen said calmly. If this ancient powerful man does not intend to leave a legacy, wouldn't it mean that this place is a place of death and no life? Land. Or was it found in the tomb of an ancient saint? The old man of the tomb spirit shook his head and said, although there are many powerful people in the flame cemetery, no one has ever entered it, so no one knows whether there is any inheritance inside. The tomb spirit master shook his head, but the layout of the ancient level strong men is generally not so small. Besides, the reason why these strong men put their tombs in this flame cemetery is probably because they want to be resurrected from nirvana. Say it. It is said that the energy source of the entire flame cemetery is the eternal flame. There is a real way of immortality in the flame. This time, however, they were not sure what was inside. This has to arouse their curiosity. If they can really discover some rules, it will prove that they also have a chance to know more about some ancient saints. If it is said, these ancient inheritances can be obtained. It is said that the flame is extremely hot. Just getting close to it may completely destroy your body and soul. Is there really anyone who gets close to meditate? Xiao Xian couldn't help but ask. In response to this, Master Tomb Spirit also shook his head and said, speaking of it, if I am not interested in such a level of power, it must be a lie. However, over the years, I have secretly visited the tomb of the old man in this valley more than once. Found something important. Tomb Spirit Master said, but at the same time, there are indeed many strong men resurrected in the flame cemetery. In the past few years alone, no less than 10 strong men above the dragon god realm have been resurrected here. There is no doubt that most of the powerful people in the flame cemetery will be interested in the tomb of the old man in the valley. Hearing this, Xiao Xian became more interested and asked, Master Tomb, are the rumors about the nirvana and resurrection of the flame cemetery true? At this moment, the interest of Xiao Xian and the other two people was instantly attracted. Good. You must know that the most important things in the tombs of these ancient saints are undoubtedly those precious ancient inheritances. Mr. Chen asked the tomb spirit master. Could it be said that in the tomb of this old man in the valley, there is really a way to turn a strong man in the dragon god realm into a saint? Bai Ling couldn't help but ask. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1212. No fewer than 10 powerful men in the dragon god realm are resurrected? Such words immediately attracted Xiao Xian's attention, and he became confused about this matter. It is said that when you reach the level of dragon god realm, you already have a great understanding of life and death in the world, and you are also very familiar with things like blood rebirth and soul resurrection. It can be said that it is extremely difficult for a strong man at the level of dragon god to be killed directly unless he encounters a huge trap. As long as a trace of his soul is left in the world, he will be resurrected. And in the flame cemetery. In just a few years, it is a bit strange that so many powerful people in the dragon god realm have been resurrected. At least it explains. There are indeed some extraordinary things in the flame cemetery. After thinking about this, Xiao Xian's face became more solemn, and he suddenly realized something. Why are strong men at the dragon god realm buried in the flame cemetery? Doesn't this prove that there seems to be what they want in the flame cemetery? And this kind of thing only exists after death? Thinking of this, Xiao Xian seemed to understand something more. You said before that you need to recover your energy before you can treat the tomb spirit master. When can you really recover your energy? Bai Ling also asked Xiao Xian. Tomorrow. Tomorrow, please ask the tomb sect master to prepare 3 essence silver needles, and I can treat you. Xiao Xian said seriously. Hearing these words, Master Tomb Spirit was also very surprised and nodded quickly. Thank you, little friend Xiao Xian. How about it? Old Tombstone, the person I choose must be extraordinary after all, right? Facing the smile of Master Tomb Spirit, Mr. Chen said, if I hadn't brought Xiaoxian here today, I'm afraid no one would be able to cure the cold poison on your body. Say it. Tomb Spirit Master's face was also a little embarrassed. In fact, he knew such things in his heart, but sometimes he was not willing to admit it. Now that his longtime friend Chen Lao has spoken out, he feels a bit uncomfortable. It's just that the boy got lucky by chance, Xiao Xian said, it's not that big of a skill. In the future in the Flame Cemetery, I'm afraid we will still need a lot of help from the Tomb Sect Master. Rest assured. My Tomb Spirit is still a bit thin among the various sects in the Flame Cemetery. Tomb Spirit patted his chest and said, even if you want to get the blue flame staff, I have the ability to help you find it. I think you, old guy, should stop bragging, Mr. Chen said lazily. If you really have this ability, how could you let your son start a sect outside? You. Master Tomb Spirit was speechless for a moment. That's all, since this is your scar, I won't say more, Mr. Chen smiled. You did it on purpose, Master Tomb Spirit said angrily. What can I do? Mr. Chen was not afraid and seemed not to take the Tomb Spirit Master seriously at all. Both of you. Now that there are many powerful people gathering in the Flame Cemetery, I think you two should focus on targeting those powerful people. Seeing that the Tomb Spirit Master and Mr. Chen started to bicker, Xiao Xian was helpless and could only sigh and said, I feel that the strong men from Zhongzhou appear this time for a purpose. Perhaps they want to explore the mystery of the resurrection fire in the Flame Cemetery. On this continent, no matter how big or small, there are more than tens of millions of sections. How virtuous and capable is this old man in the valley that he can inherit the inheritance of these sects? Indeed. That's almost certain. Mr. Chen nodded. As far as I know, there seem to be more dragon god realms in Zhongzhou now. Everyone present was shocked. You know, Nanzanhaizu is an extremely huge continent. In this case. Yes, there are sacred vessels used as weapons, sacred vessels used as magic weapons, and sacred vessels used as sacrificial offerings, to name a few, the Tomb Spirit Master said with envy. It is no exaggeration to say that in the Flame Cemetery, if any sect obtains one of the sacred weapons, they will be eligible to enter Zhongzhou. Such a thing does sound a bit shocking. Say it. After all, for everyone on the Dao continent, the Dragon God realm is already considered a very remarkable realm. As for the legendary Holy Land, however, a character of this level should have broken through the Dragon God realm and achieved the Holy Realm long ago. Why would he leave his own grave in the Flame Cemetery? It also made everyone present take a breath. The Tomb Spirit Master said, over the years, cultivators below the Golden God realm have entered his tomb. It is said that they have seen more than one ascending weapon inside. Unfortunately, no matter what means they use, they cannot get it from him. Take out the sacred vessels from inside. This old man in the valley is said to be a powerful man from the Holy Realm from ancient times. His graveyard is in the center of the Flame Cemetery. There is this layer of energy shield in it. Only strong men below the Golden God realm can enter. Say it. However, those sects in Zhongzhou have actually regarded achieving the Holy Realm as a set goal. Say it. Then what state has this old man in the valley reached? Xiao Xian couldn't help but ask, is it the Holy State or the Dragon God State? Holy Realm. Indeed, in a place like the Flame Cemetery, perhaps only the fire of resurrection can interest the strong men in Zhongzhou. More than one sacred weapon, Xiao Xian was secretly surprised. Zhongzhou sent Dragon God Realm experts here to explore the way to achieve the Holy Realm in the Dragon God Realm. This has not even been heard of in some small sects. How do you say this? Xiao Xian was puzzled. Tomb Spirit Master said, there were disciples of the Tomb Spirit sect who went in and found that there were various sex skill inheritance inside. These inheritances have included almost all the sects on the mainland. What Xiao Xian said is very reasonable. Tomb Spirit Master and Mr. Chen were also stunned, and then began to think. Isn't this just a joke? If this is the case, then they will definitely enter the cemetery of the Old Man of the Valley, Master Tomb Spirit said firmly, because the Old Man of the Valley is the legendary powerful man who knows the Holy Realm best. This had to make them sigh with emotion at Zhongzhou's strength. Unless, this old man in the valley is really a figure from a powerful sect in ancient times. If you put it this way, would the sects from Zhongzhou come to the Flame Cemetery just for these sacred artifacts? Mr. Chen said suddenly. Perhaps, for Zhongzhou, only things like this will arouse their interest. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1213. That's almost certain. Since a sect of that level in the Central Plains will appear, it must be something that interests them again. And judging from the current situation, there may only be sacred artifacts that they will be interested in. The Tomb Spirit Master said. After saying this, the people present couldn't help but look solemn. Even Xiao Xian and Bai Ling, who had never met the Zhongzhou sect, looked at each other and did not dare to show any slightness. After such a long time, they naturally understand the reason. I really want to talk about it. For such a long time, so many people have explained how powerful the Zhongzhou sect is on more than one occasion. Now, they were finally going to meet in the Flame Cemetery, and they were naturally a little nervous. How? We are about to face those geniuses from Zhongzhou, do you feel the pressure? Seeing the looks of Chu Yuan and Bai Ling, Mr. Chen and Master Tomb Ling looked at each other with a bit of a smile on their faces. After this expression appeared, Xiao Xian and Bai Ling also had embarrassment on their faces. They all knew that Mr. Chen and Master Tomb Spirit were both strong men at the Dragon God level. They were speaking at the same time just to encourage them. At that moment, Xiao Xian also raised his hands and said, "Please rest assured, I, Xiao Xian, come from the Eastern Wilds continent and have experienced more than 100 life and death fights. Do I feel afraid when I face a few powerful people from Zhongzhou?" Well said. Mr. Chen nodded with satisfaction, you are indeed the genius that I have chosen. With such ambition, wouldn't it be easy to get any kind of treasure you want? Hear these words. Xiao Xian's face was expressionless instead. Over the years, he didn't know how many times he had heard Mr. Chen's kind words for him. But he didn't care at all. After all, if it comes to a real critical moment, these compliments will be of no use at all. Instead, strength and strength are the most important. Ha ha ha. Old Chintu, it seems that your indifferent compliments have no effect on him. The Tomb Spirit Master said gloatingly, you'd better show some real skills. Hear this. Mr. Chen was helpless for a while. Finally, facing Xiao Xian in front of him, he said, in that case, I will teach you a space technique called space-time wall. I also taught you a divine soul technique called the soul cone. Tomb Spirit Master seemed unwilling to be outdone. This is... Xiao Xian was stunned. He couldn't help but be a little surprised. In fact, the reason why he acted relatively calmly just now was that he could roughly feel that this trip to the Flame Cemetery would be more dangerous, and he didn't think too much about it. But now, I heard what Mr. Chen and the Tomb Spirit Master said. He really couldn't believe that two powerful men at the Dragon God level were planning to teach him Taoism at the same time. Needless to say, since these two Taoist techniques can be used by a strong person in the Dragon God realm, they must be of high quality and powerful. However, he did not expect that they would be used at this time. This actually indirectly proves one thing. That is, Mr. Chen and Master Tomb Spirit do have some things at the bottom of the box that they are reluctant to take out. Okay, shall I, Study now. The surprise came so suddenly that Xiaoxian was not even prepared. Anytime, anywhere. But it depends on whether you can hurry up. The Tomb Spirit Master smiled and said, if my guess is correct, the next spiritual power fluctuation in the Flame Cemetery should not be more than 3 days away. Say it. Bai Ling couldn't help but be surprised. As an innate flame holy body, flame is the most powerful Taoist magic, and she no longer needs space Taoism and soul Taoism. However, what she was a little curious about was that even if Xiaoxian was very talented, could he really achieve anything in such a short period of time? She almost didn't believe this. So, let's learn together. I hope that the grades of these two Taoist techniques are not low. Xiaoxian said seriously. This time, it was the turn of Mr. Chen and Master Tomb Spirit to be shocked. The Taoist skills they could come up with at this time were naturally all heaven-level Taoist skills. Although they didn't care much about the Dragon God realm, but for Xiaoxian, this is undoubtedly a huge improvement in strength. However, for ordinary people facing a heaven-level Taoist technique, it takes at least 10 days and a half to learn it, not counting its use in actual combat. But now, Xiaoxian is so arrogant. Learning 2 heaven-level Taoist techniques at the same time, does he really think he is a genius? For a moment, there was a bit of surprise on their faces. That's fine. In this case, I will teach you this cone of dead souls. The Tomb Spirit Master took out a jade slip, threw it directly into Xiaoxian's hand, and said, your soul is not weak. If you can fully understand the Taoism in it, you can fight in the Golden God Realm force. Elder Chen followed suit and took out a jade slip and handed it to Xiaoxian. The space-time wall is also a relatively powerful heaven-level Taoist technique in the Golden God Realm. If you learn this space-time wall, you will at least have a life-saving skill. One attack, one saves life. This combination of skills is exactly what I want. Xiaoxian nodded with satisfaction. If I didn't get it just now, I would even suspect that this is what you have prepared for a long time ago. After hearing this, Mr. Chen and Master Tomb Spirit looked at each other. In fact, they had prepared these 2 heaven-level Taoist techniques long ago, but what they didn't expect was that in the end, this heaven-level Taoist skill would be given to Xiaoxian. Then tomorrow, I will treat you as usual, Master of the Tomb, to get rid of the cold poison. This can be considered as a thank you for your soul cone. The Tomb Spirit Master was about to say something, but was interrupted by Xiaoxian. In fact, if you really want to talk about it, for Xiaoxian, with the 3 needles of the gods and ghosts in the $1 million prescription, it would only take a little time to cure the cold poison in the Tomb Spirit Master. That night, after returning to the room assigned to him by Tomb Spirit Sect, Xiaoxian also took out the 2 jade slips he had just obtained. In fact, after coming to the Flame Cemetery, he did not dare to relax at all in his training every day. But even so, he could still feel that he might not be so confident when facing those strong men from Zhongzhou. Although his strongest Taoist skill, Tiankong sword technique, was also a heaven-level Taoist skill, it was only half of it after all, and could not exert its true power. If we say that after having these 2 heaven-level Taoist skills, the improvement in strength must have great benefits. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1214. Facing the 2 jade slips. Xiaoxian no longer hesitated and was inspired at the same time. In an instant, 2 white streams of light seemed to be alive, directly instilled into his mind. At the same time, the essence of the 2 Taoist techniques also appeared in Xiaoxian's head. If others saw something like this, they would be too shocked to speak. After all, this is heaven-level Taoism. For ordinary people, heaven-level Taoism is indeed a treasure that is difficult to obtain, but no matter how good the treasure is, it should be powerful enough to open it. Just like this jade slip of heaven-level Taoism, it contains the essence of heaven-level Taoism. It is extremely difficult for most people to understand one of them. How could Xiaoxian be like this and open two at the same time? If you can't fully understand the essence of it, isn't it a waste? Interesting. As expected, it is something that is regarded as a treasure by two strong men in the dragon god realm. There is indeed something unusual about it. At this time, when Xiaoxian faced the jade slip in front of him, his face became more solemn. I didn't expect that there is such a good thing. Time passed by minute by minute. In a few hours, Xiaoxian released his soul power to the extreme, and his comprehension ability was also completely improved. The essence of two heaven-level Taoist arts was actually slowly absorbed by him. Wait until it gets light. Xiaoxian fully understood these two heaven-level Taoist techniques. Is it already dawn? I didn't expect that it took so long to understand. Xiaoxian said to himself. If anyone knew at this time that Xiaoxian had already mastered two heaven-level Taoist techniques in just a few hours, their jaws would have dropped to the ground in shock. You actually realized it? Isn't this impossible? No matter how talented you are, if you don't have enough time and energy, you can't fully understand it. When Bai Ling heard that Xiaoxian had mastered two heaven-level Taoist techniques in one night, he didn't believe it at all. Xiaoxian had no way to explain this, so he just smiled and said no more. But it was Mr. Chen and Master Tomb Spirit. After hearing the news, a bit of surprise appeared on their faces, and then they nodded secretly, shocked by Xiaoxian's talent. They are strong men in the dragon god realm. Over the years, they have seen countless talented people, but this is the first time they have seen a talented disciple like Xiaoxian who has mastered two heaven-level Taoist arts in a mere night. Amazing. As expected of the person that old man Chen likes. Tomb Spirit Master nodded. I said, your soul power is not weak, you should have entered the divine realm. After reaching this realm, as long as you have enough energy to study, the strength of this dead soul cone will definitely make you're in for a surprise. Stop bragging. Don't I know the strength of this old tombstone like you? I think this soul cone is just average. Mr. Chen deliberately caused trouble. Master Tomb Spirit and Mr. Chen originally refused to accept the other. After hearing this, Master Tomb Spirit immediately said rudely, this cone of souls, killed 3 people in the 9-star golden god realm at the same time back then. In your time and space wall, can you do it? You can only run away, what kind of skill is that? Haha, my time and space wall allows cultivators to travel infinitely in time and space, so that enemies cannot see you. Where in the world can such body and Taoism be found? Mr. Chen sneered. Just like before. Good. Not only Tomb Green, but also some elders and disciples in Tomb Spirit sect were also shocked. Over the past few days, in order to treat the real Tomb Spirit, they did not know how many doctors from the Flame Cemetery they had found. After he explained this, Tomb Ching frowned and said to some Tomb Spirit sect disciples. Tomb Ching politely held up 3 silver needles. Bai Ling and Tomb Ching looked at Xiaoxian with curiosity on their faces. I don't know. If you want treatment, besides silver needles, what else do you need? I'll prepare it for you. After all, it was Xiaoxian who said today that he would treat the cold poison of Master Tomb Spirit, but he didn't sleep all night yesterday. Can he still be energetic now? The Divine Soul Taoist technique is invisible and incredibly powerful. Isn't it tens of thousands of times more powerful than your Shenfa Taoist technique? The disciples of the Tomb Spirit sect also nodded. Hear this. What Xiaoxian said still makes sense. You must know that although the strong men in the Kangshen realm have reached the point where they can breathe the essence of heaven and earth and do not need to rest, the cold poison on the body of the real Tomb Spirit is extremely powerful. Whether Xiaoxian can cure this cold poison without rest, they still have to. I really have to put a question mark. Now, in Xiao Xian's hands, the treatment method is so simple. It sounds like even any doctor can do it, right? After a while, various recovery elixirs were brought up. At a glance, these elixirs were of high quality. Doctor's treatment is actually difficult to say and easy to say. When you master these two Taoist techniques, in the Flame Cemetery, unless you encounter a strong Dragon God realm person, ordinary people will never be your opponent. But in the end, no one could see it. Is this a bit too simple? Master Xiao Xian. So many doctors have seen the Tomb Spirit Master, but in the end, wasn't it only Xiao Xian who was able to temporarily control the cold poison? This alone is enough to prove that not everyone can cure the cold poison in the Tomb Spirit Master. Mr. Chen touched his beard and said, speaking of it, when it comes to the final treatment, it seems simple, but the knowledge involved is also very great. Shenfa and Taoism can appear directly in unexpected places, which is much stronger than this spirit. Xiao Xian shook his head, no more. As long as the silver needle activates the acupuncture points on the Tomb Master's body, the cold energy can be forced out of the body. The poison of the North Ice Xian needle will be cured. Go and get ready. The two of them said one after another. The difficult part is that you have to judge the disease and prepare treatment methods. It is also the treatment of cold syndrome. There are thousands of treatment methods. Which one you choose depends on the doctor's level. They also know that there is no problem in what Mr. Chen said. It is indeed not that simple for a doctor to treat it. Hearing that the pair of living treasures, the Tomb Spirit Master and Mr. Chen, were about to quarrel, Xiao Xian was helpless and could only persuade him. Both of them are strong men at the level of the Dragon God. The heavens they created. The Taoist technique is naturally not weak, but the two may still need to be coordinated, so that the true strength can be exerted, isn't it? Prepare some elixirs to restore your energy and strength, just in case something unexpected happens. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1215. Haha. Actually, it's not that troublesome. Just 3 injections can remove the cold poison from the Tomb Master. Xiao Xian smiled. Then, a burst of spiritual power surged from his hand, directly attracting the 3 silver needles, and quickly shot them towards the elixir of the Tomb Spirit Master. Such a scene also shocked everyone present. You must know that no matter what level of cultivator you are, the Danshan is an extremely important place. Once the Danshan is damaged, it is likely to affect the operation of your own avenue. Xiao Xian is only in the Kangshen realm. How dare you use a silver needle to touch the Danshan of the Tomb Spirit Master? To put it mildly, isn't this just asking for death? If the power of the great Dao in Master Tomb Spirit surges a little, I'm afraid Xiao Xian will be dead. For a moment, everyone present held their breath and did not dare to breathe out. They can feel it. At this moment, the Tomb Spirit Master was also very nervous. Although the cold poison did not kill him for such a long time, it still tortured him badly. Now that he finally had the chance to be relieved, he was also very excited. Just now, he was really curious, were Xiao Xian's 3 injections really effective? Master of the Tomb sect, you don't have to be able to control the power of the great Dao. Let me control your power of the great Dao and move it throughout your body. Xiao Xian felt the tension of Master Tomb Spirit and said directly. Good. But Tomb Spirit Master couldn't help being stunned, a little unable to believe what Xiao Xian said. You must know that he is a strong man at the level of Dragon God, and the power of the Dao in his body is so strong. Does Xiao Xian, a mere Kangshen realm, have the ability to control such a powerful divine soul? Believe me, Xiao Xian said directly without waiting for the Tomb Spirit Master to ask questions, I will definitely be able to cure the cold poison on your body. That's fine. If others say so. Maybe Tomb Spirit Master wouldn't believe a word of it. But now, the person who spoke like this was Xiao Xian. For some reason, he felt a little more trusting in his heart. He felt it vaguely. Perhaps Xiao Xian can really cure his illness. At the moment, he also completely relaxed the control of the power of the avenue, allowing Xiao Xian to control the operation of these powers. At the same time, in the Tomb Spirit Sect Hall, these disciples of the Tomb Spirit Sect also looked at Xiao Xian nervously with solemn faces. Tomb Spirit Master is a strong man in the Dragon God realm. If the power of the Great Dao surges through the body, I am afraid that it is not something that ordinary people can contend with. At this moment, Xiao Xian also looked solemn and began to control the power of the Great Dao in the Tomb Spirit Master. At the beginning, he felt that the power of the avenue was like a tiger, unwilling to be controlled by him at all. But soon, under the control of Xiao Xian's 3 silver needles, every time the tiger resisted, it would be suppressed in time and gradually brought under control. Under Xiao Xian's urging, this power of the avenue continued to destroy the power hidden in the tomb. The cold poison in Lingjin's body. After Han Du felt threatened, he initially planned to resist. But with Xiao Xian's guidance, the power of the Great Dao in the Tomb Spirit Master was like a firefighter, launching a rhythmic attack on every place controlled by the cold poison. Under such an offensive rhythm, soon the cold poison was retreating steadily. After half an hour, Xiao Xian's head began to sweat more. At the same time, the cold poison on the body of the Tomb Spirit Master was completely eliminated. Call. Xiao Xian exhaled a breath of turbidity. Later, when facing these people, his face became more solemn. The cold poison has been eliminated. Very good. Thank you, Mr. Xiao Xian. I didn't expect that Mr. Xiao Xian's medical skills could be so good. Master Xiao Xian, I didn't expect that you are really good at medicine. Bai Ling also looked at Xiao Xian with surprise on his face. If he can cure the Tomb Spirit Master, everything will be fine. What's more, with the ancient flame holy body. It's amazing. Mr. Xiao Xian is really a meritorious person of our Tomb Spirit sect. No, he is a person of great merit. You know, Bai Ling has the physique of the ancient flame holy body, and now he has reached the little golden god realm. With such strength, he cannot be considered a weakling in the flame cemetery. Thank you, Mr. Xiao Xian. Master Tomb Spirit also expressed his sincere thanks. Ha ha ha. However, with the help of the 10,000 gold prescription, he was confident enough that he could cure the Tomb Spirit Master. Instead, she became more interested and asked proactively, I don't think so. I feel that maybe in the near future, your strength will far exceed mine. You must know that in Tianyuan continent and Primordial continent, there are countless strong people who want to learn from him. Now, after coming to Dao continent, their own strength is limited. It takes a little effort. Xiao Xian nodded and said, although the cold poison has been removed, the Tomb Master must still pay attention to the cold in the future to avoid the recurrence of the cold poison. Bai Ling's strength will definitely improve in the future, and it will not be difficult to achieve the Golden God Realm and the Dragon God Realm. For a time, Xiao Xian became a meritorious person in the Tomb Spirit sect. His words did not persuade Bai Ling to give up. On the other hand, Tomb Spirit Master is also a friend of Mr. Chen, and he also gave him heaven-level Taoism, so he was willing to help. Similarly, Xiao Xian was also surprised. He was just talking casually, but this little Bai Ling girl actually took it seriously. This is also a bloody reality. But if he hadn't been cured, I'm afraid he wouldn't even be able to get out of here today. Mr. Chen and Master Tomb Spirit were shocked. However, he just said it casually, but Bai Ling looked at him with interest and asked, if Master Xiao Xian agrees, I can become a disciple. You girl. Xiao Xian didn't care about this. He knew that this was the case. Xiao Xian smiled and joked. I was just joking, Why did you take it seriously? Therefore, he became weak. But even so, Xiaoxian would not accept disciples easily. Now, he actually wants to become a disciple of Xiaoxian? Say it. Yes, Master Tomb Spirit also nodded. Isn't this a joke? Xiaoxian waved his hands helplessly and said, "You are already a strong man in the little golden god realm. What can you learn from me? Just let it go." The disciples of Tomb Spirit sect said one after another. What I didn't expect was. I just learned a little bit. What? Do you want to learn from a teacher? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1216. Bai Ling said these words. It also surprised Mr. Chen next to him. You know, for such a long time, he has taken the initiative to tell Bai Ling more than once that he wanted to accept her as his apprentice. It's a pity. Every time he said these words, he would be rejected by the latter. Now, what he couldn't believe was that the disciple he couldn't accept no matter what, actually wanted to become Xiaoxian's disciple. What does it mean? Is it possible that he, a strong man in the dragon god realm, is not as good as Xiaoxian, who is at the peak of the blue god realm? You. Bai Ling, I asked you several times at that time. Did you say you didn't want to become a disciple? Mr. Chen was a little anxious. Bai Ling looked indifferent. I think there is nothing to learn from you, old man. On the contrary, Mr. Xiaoxian's medical skills are very good. I want to learn medical skills. After hearing this, Mr. Chen suddenly looked helpless. Seeing that his old friend was defeated, Master Tomb Spirit looked happy and said with a smile, I never thought that you, an old man, would be disliked by others. You are not strong enough, ha ha ha, you are not strong enough. Hear this. Mr. Chen also looked aggrieved. In such a long time, he has never suffered such a big loss, and he was actually ridiculed by a person in the little golden god realm. What's even more helpless is that Bai Ling is the disciple he has always valued. Even after saying these words, he can't do anything about it. This makes Mr. Chen feel that there is a breath in his heart that he can't spit out no matter what. Xiaoxian, on the other hand, looked helpless. Looking at Bai Ling who looked serious, he didn't know how to explain it. Ha ha ha. Okay, today happens to be the day when I recover. Since Miss Bai Ling wants to become a disciple, I also want to be a witness. If Xiaoxian agrees, I will give you a bottle of heaven-level elixir. How about it as an apprenticeship ceremony? The grave spirit master looked like he was watching the fun. After saying this, Mr. Chen's face turned blue and white, making him look as ugly as possible. For so long. He naturally knows the real tomb spirit very well, and knows that the reason why this old guy did this is to deliberately humiliate him. Heavenly elixir. Heavenly elixir. This time, Xiaoxian and Bai Ling were stunned. They were not interested in the banter between Mr. Chen and the tomb spirit master, but they were still interested in this heavenly elixir. Before, they only knew that elixirs were divided into grades. The higher the grade of the elixir, the higher the potency and the higher the value. But now, this is the first time I have heard of a heaven-level elixir. What effect can this elixir have? For a while, Xiaoxian and Bai Ling couldn't help but focus on the tomb spirit master, wanting to hear his explanation. I see that one of you is at the peak of the blue god realm, and the other has just entered the little golden god realm. This heaven-level elixir should be the most suitable for you. Master Tomb Spirit also put away his joking expression and said, one pill can bring the peak of Kangshen realm to the little golden god realm, and can also make the realm of little golden god realm more stable. So magical. Will there be any side effects? Xiao Xian and Bai Ling looked at each other with doubts on their faces. Tomb Spirit Master shook his head. I found a third-grade alchemist to refine this elixir. It will definitely not have any side effects, so don't worry. After saying this, Xiao Xian and Bai Ling were somewhat moved. As a former alchemist, Xiao Xian actually didn't have much favorable impression of elixirs. In its view, to practice a religion, the most important thing to rely on should be the life and death struggle during one's own practice, rather than external elixirs. Can I not accept this apprentice anymore? Of course, this is in addition to some top-quality elixirs. Bai Ling didn't care about these words, holding Xiao Xian's hand. No matter what, I am your apprentice anyway, you can't ignore me in the future. How about it? Even if you reach the Dragon God realm level, it is not an easy task to find such an elixir. Bai Ling also set her sights on Xiao Xian. Obviously, she was very interested in this elixir. Master, please bow down to me. Bai Ling smiled and was about to kneel down, but was stopped by Xiao Xian. All right. The grave spirit master smiled. In fact, he could feel that the reason why Master Tomb Spirit said this was not just to let him accept any disciples, but just to find a reason to give him pills, that's all. Xiao Xian also agreed. I think that we should give up. So to say. Isn't it okay if I practice fire skills every day? I'm a little tired and want to learn something new, Bai Ling said matter-of-factly. For the sake of heaven-level elixirs, will Mr. Xiao Xian accept Miss Bai Ling's apprenticeship? After saying that, the Tomb Spirit Master also took out a small jade bottle from the space-entering magic weapon. We've known each other for such a long time, so what's there to be so polite about? The best elixir has no side effects and is a positive help to the cultivator. Xiao Xian can still accept this kind of elixir. Don't worry about this. Now that I have accepted a disciple, I will not treat my disciple badly. Forget it. Xiao Xian was a little helpless. This is a bit strange. After all, ordinary third-grade alchemists really don't have such great abilities. Obviously, the level of this elixir is not low. Now listen to the meaning of the Tomb Spirit Master. As for Tomb Qing and other Tomb Spirit sect disciples, they all looked envious. They had been following Tomb Spirit Master for many years and had never gotten the bottle of heavenly elixir. Who knew that Tomb Spirit Master planned to give it to Xiao Xian today? Tomb Spirit Master was also very satisfied. He nodded and said, of course, I keep my word. Once I say it, I will definitely do it. This is the elixir. However, pills of this level are not common. See this scene. With your current strength, even if you swallow those heaven-level pills, you may not be strong enough to walk sideways in the flame cemetery. If you have the time and energy, you might as well improve your strength quickly, right? That's really good. Bai Ling was also very happy. He hugged Xiao Xian's arm and said with a smile, in the future, can I learn medical skills from you? As soon as I took it out, there was a faint fragrance of elixir in the air. Xiao Xian shook his head. Okay, Xiao Xian looked helpless. If you don't practice the fire technique well, why are you learning medical skills? This elixir was actually refined by a third-grade alchemist. Xiao Xian shook his head and looked back at the real person Tomb Spirit. Master Tomb, can you take out the heaven-level elixir now? Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1217. Is this the heavenly elixir? Sure enough, it's well deserved. I didn't expect that I can smell the aroma of the elixir from such a distance. If you take just one bite of a pill of this level, wouldn't it increase your strength greatly? Watching the elixir being taken out, all the disciples of the Tomb Spirit sect also sighed one after another, with envious expressions on their faces. This point also made Xiao Xian interested. In his estimation, a mere third-grade alchemist shouldn't be able to refine a pill that has no side effects at all. And if what the Tomb Spirit Master said is true, there is only one possibility. There should be extremely precious spiritual grass treasures in this elixir. After taking the jade bottle, Xiao Xian saw that there were only 2 pills in the bottle. This made him couldn't help but glance at the Tomb Spirit Master and thought to himself, "Are you, old guy, a little too pushy? Just 2 pills? Can't we give a few more? Little friend Xiao Xian. Don't say I'm stingy. Elixirs of this level are not something I can just take out." Seemingly seeing a bit of dissatisfaction in Xiao Xian's eyes, Master Tomb Spirit also said, "Speaking of which, it is not so easy for ordinary people to get this pill from me. It's rare for an old guy like you to bleed." Mr. Chen also nodded, "If I guess correctly, there should be blood of the ancient demon emperor in this elixir, right?" "What? Ancient demon emperor? How can this be? Could it be that there is really something like this in this elixir? It's unbelievable." Some Tomb Spirit sect disciples were shocked. Everyone looked at each other with shock on their faces. "Good. You old guy still has some sense." Tomb Spirit Master also nodded, "Speaking of which, it is precisely because there are 2 drops of the Demon King's blood in this elixir that it has such an effect. I only have 2 drops in my body, so it is an advantage for you." "Say it." Xiao Xian and Bai Ling also looked at each other, with surprise on their faces. After all, even a strong person at the level of Dragon God might not be able to see such an existence as the ancient demon emperor, let alone get 2 drops of blood essence. This is enough to prove how important this police need is. How do I say this? 1 per person is enough. Xiao Xian also said and handed a pill to Bai Ling. "Thank you, Master," Bai Ling said with a smile. Okay, I'm a little tired as a teacher. Let's go back and rest." Xiao Xian rubbed his eyebrows. "I'll take Master back," Bai Ling said with a smile on his face, supported Xiao Xian and sent him to his residence. "Tomb Ching, give these elixirs to restore your soul and physical strength to Mr. Xiao Xian." Master Tomb Ling said to Tomb Ching. Yes. The cold poison on the Tomb Spirit Master's body was cured. This is a great thing for the entire Tomb Spirit sect. At this time, no one needs to say much, Xiao Xian has become the benefactor of the entire Tomb Spirit sect. Return to the room. After swallowing a few pills to restore physical strength, Xiao Xian could feel that the energy in his body was gradually recovering. Under such power, he also carefully observed the heaven-level elixir. He saw that there were a few thin red gaps on the white pill. It was obvious that the so-called bloodline of the ancient demon emperor was inside. This made him summon Xiao Green. He knew that compared to him, Xiao Lu knew more about this aspect. Xiao Lu knew many things that he didn't know very well. "Little Green. Tell me, what kind of existence is there?" Xiao Xian asked directly. After Xiao Lu came out of the space magic weapon, he also set his sights on the heavenly elixir. After taking a few glances, his face became a little more dignified. She didn't believe it. In this place, there is such a pure bloodline of the ancient demon emperor. Amazing. It turns out to be a true pure bloodline of the Demon King. It should be of great help to you. After looking at it, Xiao Lu said seriously, "You can use this as a means to improve your realm. It should be of great help to you. Hear this." Xiao Xian was a little surprised. Before, he knew a little about Xiao Lu. He knew that there were many ways to improve the strength of ancient divine beasts like Xiaolu, and the fastest way was to devour them. As for the devouring of the enemy, they can quickly absorb the blood power from the enemy's body. This was also the reason why Xiaolu liked to go to places like Wanyan Building before. Why does it seem a little different today? Faced with the bloodline of the ancient demon king, Xiaolu had no interest at all. Could it be that he was just kind-hearted and wanted Xiao Xian to rise quickly in the city? Xiao Xian felt that Xiao Lu would not have such a good idea. Think of this. Xiao Xian couldn't help but ask, can it be said that you are not interested in the blood of the Demon King at all? Isn't it normal? It's normal. I'm not interested in this thing at all. Xiao Lu looked disgusted. What's wrong? Xiao Xian felt a little strange. It seems that this is different from your usual personality, right? I am also an ancient demon royal. I have no interest in this kind of bloodline. Xiao Lu said nonchalantly, besides, this demon king's bloodline is not as pure as mine, so it is of no use. Same bloodline? Hear these 4 words. Xiao Xian became interested. For such a long time, he had asked Xiao Lu in a roundabout way, but in the end he only asked about an ancient Phoenix clan member. Unexpectedly, Xiao Lu actually said that the bloodline in this heaven-level elixir was the same as hers. Doesn't this mean? Can he have a chance to learn more about Xiao Lu's life experience? Stop worrying about my life experience. If you really have the time and energy, you might as well think about how to improve your strength. I feel that there is a saint in this flame cemetery. Xiao Lu said solemnly. Saint? A saint above the dragon god realm? Hearing this, Xiao Xian was so surprised that he almost couldn't breathe. You know, for him now, let alone the dragon god realm, he may not be able to deal with even the golden god realm. It's good now. Is there still a saint? So why can they fight each other? Isn't this just a joke? Thinking of this, his face became much more solemn. Saint, why did you come to the flame cemetery? Is there anything in it that interests them? If my guess is good, it should be the flame that has never been extinguished. Xiao Lu thought for a while, if so many dragon god realms and even saints place their tombs in the flame cemetery, this is enough to prove that the flame is not an eternal fire, but the real fire of nirvana. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1218. You know that is the fire of nirvana. Xiao Xian was a little surprised. He knew that Xiaolu had always been in his space magic weapon and was aware of the situation outside. She must have heard the legends about the flame cemetery, but he did not expect that she would make such an inference. Fire of nirvana. Although, he may not understand that well. But in a literal sense, this nirvana fire should symbolize resurrection and rebirth, and since this thing can be valued by dragon god realm experts and saints, it is enough to prove that this thing is no small matter. You, the ancient demon king, also know about the fire of nirvana. Xiao Xian was a little confused and asked, if this is true, doesn't it mean that this fire of nirvana also comes from ancient times? Good. The fire of nirvana, which has been burning for thousands of years, originally represents rebirth and resurrection. In the ancient times, some powerful people in the dragon god realm, in order to obtain a better realm, would take the initiative to destroy their bodies and souls and achieve nirvana in the fire. Rebirth. Xiao Lu said. Hearing these words, Xiao Xian was also surprised. Nirvana rebirth? This is not just a few words said casually. To be honest, every strong person in the dragon god realm who can cultivate his own dragon god realm, whether it is body or soul, is extremely powerful, and he must have experienced countless difficulties and obstacles along the way. In order to reach a better realm, voluntarily giving up the results of thousands of years of cultivation also requires great determination. For the average person, it may be difficult to make such a determination. But Xiao Xian knew that sometimes, if cultivation encounters bottlenecks, it may really require the courage and decision-making to achieve nirvana and rebirth. From this point of view, perhaps those saints in ancient times were in this situation. For these situations, Xiao Xian also became interested. If there is really hope for rebirth in the nirvana fire, then naturally there are not a few strong people in the dragon god realm who have entered the flames over the years. Under such circumstances, then in the flames, wouldn't there be more treasures? Think of this. Xiao Xian couldn't help but show curiosity on his face. What's wrong? Seeing Xiao Xian's appearance, Xiao Lu also asked in confusion. If according to what you said, there are many corpses of Dragon God realm experts in this flame, doesn't it mean that there will also be many treasures? Xiao Xian asked casually. Humph. Do you think you can get it if there's a treasure inside? Then you have to see if you have such great ability, right? Xiao Lu said disdainfully, with you, who is only at the peak of the Blue God realm, it is simply unreasonable to want to obtain the treasures in the Nirvana fire. Not to mention, as long as you get close to the flame, you will be burned to death immediately. Even if you enter, do you still want to come out? Hear this. Xiao Xian couldn't help but feel a little confused. As the most powerful flame in the flame cemetery, the fire of Nirvana is very powerful, which he can understand. However, what he didn't understand was why Xiaolu said that he didn't want to go out after entering. Is it possible that there are money, beautiful women, treasures and magic tools inside? Even if there is, Xiao Xian is not a fool and knows how to take things out. Or is there an unknown danger inside? For a while, Xiao Xian also didn't quite understand. At this time, after seeing Xiao Xian's appearance, Xiao Lu explained directly, looking at you, you don't seem to know anything. Of course, I haven't been here for a long time in the flame cemetery, Xiao Xian said matter-of-factly. If my guess is correct, this flame cemetery should be a place of sacrifice in ancient times. Xiao Lu thought for a moment and said, in order to gain more power, strong men in ancient times would sacrifice their bodies to more gods, praying for strength to come. Ancient times, Xiao Xian wondered. Yes, after all the things I have seen, this is the only fire of Nirvana that may cause harm to the strong men in ancient times. Therefore, this flame should be the legendary ancient sacrificial place, Xiao Lu said. As for whether there is any treasure inside the flames after so many years, no one knows, but what is certain is that there must be an illusion of flames inside. This. Xiao Xian was confused. The flame illusion is because the Nirvana flame has swallowed up the bodies and souls of too many powerful people in the Dragon God realm. The resentment in these bodies and souls has not been completely swallowed up by the flames, so it remains in the flames. Generally speaking, in the Dragon God realm, when strong people enter, people with weak minds will be confused by these illusions, Xiao Lu said. Therefore, if you don't have a strong enough mind to enter the flames of Nirvana, you will become stupid even if you are not burned to death. Stupid people. I see. No wonder, in all these years, I haven't heard of anyone finding any treasures from the Nirvana fire. Xiao Xian suddenly realized. However, at the same time, he also looked at Xiao Lu curiously and asked, Xiao Lu, how do you know so much? Even if you are the Demon King in ancient times, you shouldn't know these things, right? Of course, I am from the ancient Phoenix clan. If the Phoenix clan wants to transform, they need Nirvana and rebirth. I understand this naturally, Xiao Lu said casually. So, the Nirvana flame is also helpful to you? Xiao Xian was a little confused. Should have. It's just that the so-called Nirvana and rebirth also requires experiencing great pain. Most people cannot bear such pain. Xiao Lu said directly. Hearing this, Xiao Xian shook his head. He couldn't tell that Xiao Lu obviously didn't want to experience Nirvana and rebirth, and didn't want to experience the pain. However, this is normal. Not to mention that Xiaolu was just a mythical beast in its infancy. Even in adulthood, entering the scorching flames of Nirvana still requires great courage. After thinking about this, Xiao Xian couldn't help but shake his head. What are you shaking your head for? Didn't you say that you want to enter the flame of Nirvana? What? You don't dare anymore. Xiao Lu had a narrow look on her face. Regarding such ridicule, Xiao Xian was in a good mood. He smiled and said, even if I want to enter the nirvana flame, do I have to improve my strength first? With my current strength, if I want to enter such a place, aren't you looking for death? However, I think you don't have no chance, Xiao Lu said thoughtfully. Do you still remember the dragon tree? Nagarjuna, Xiao Xian was stunned and remembered that when he was avoiding the spirit snake alliance and was chasing him away, he found a young dragon tree in the valley. This Nagarjuna has a strong defensive nature in his body. If you can swallow the essence, and then use the elixir to upgrade yourself to the little golden god realm, your physical fitness will be greatly enhanced, and it may not be weaker than the ordinary golden god realm, Xiao Lu said. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1219. So strong. Are you telling the truth? Xiao Xian couldn't believe it. He has also seen powerful people in the Golden God realm. It can be said that with their strong physical fitness alone, Taoism below the earth level cannot cause harm to their bodies. It is really because of this that the strength of some strong people in the Golden God realm extremely terrifying. He has always believed that it is extremely difficult to cultivate to the Golden God realm. But now, according to what Xiao Lu said, he discovered that even if he couldn't directly upgrade his realm to the Golden God realm, he could still improve his physical fitness to the Golden God realm. And the dragon tree we obtained before turned out to be a very good nourishment. He was actually a little hesitant about this. You know, he also learned before that this Nagarjuna is called the Emperor of Nagarjuna, and he has a respected status among the Nagarjuna race. It is definitely not something that ordinary people can harm. If he devours the Emperor of Nagarjuna in order to increase his strength, I am afraid that he will also die. There will be trouble. What's more, he had heard before that Nagarjuna would have human form when he grew up. Now swallowing Nagarjuna, isn't it equivalent to swallowing a baby? Therefore, Xiao Xian is also a little hesitant now. However, in response to Xiao Xian's behavior, Xiao Lu seemed to have expected it, and said directly, "It is up to you to decide whether to swallow it or not. There are dangers in this flame cemetery." After entering, Mr. Chen and the Tomb Spirit Master can only, outside, if you face a group of powerful people in the Golden God realm and you don't have the strength, how will you deal with them? Say it. Xiao Xian also looked serious. He knew that Xiao Lu was right. According to what the Tomb Spirit Master said before, in the Flame Cemetery, only the strong can survive. And since the Valley Old Man Cemetery in the Flame Cemetery is restricted to only those at the Golden God level can enter, then those strong men in the Golden God realm, naturally, they will flock to the Flame Cemetery. When you enter the cemetery of the real Old Man of the Valley, you can tell with your knees that those powerful people in the Golden God realm don't know any moral rules and will definitely have the strength to grab as many resources as possible. If Xiao Xian and Bai Ling didn't have the ability to protect themselves, in the end, it seemed natural to be torn to pieces and killed. Thinking of this, Xiao Xian's face became more solemn, and he could only say seriously, "I have to say, you are right about this matter. Maybe, I really have to find a way to improve my strength as soon as possible." That's right. You should have seen before that the defensive capabilities of Nagarjuna are amazing. If you devour them, you can at least ensure that you still have the ability to protect yourself when facing a powerful person at the level of the Golden God. Xiao Lu said, "With the addition of the Soul Cone and the Time and Space Wall, we can at least be in an invincible position." In fact, Xiao Lu didn't need to say these words, Xiao Xian also knew them well. However, facing the so-called Emperor Nagarjuna, he really couldn't bear to devour it directly, that's all. Present. Take out the black and round King Nagarjuna. Poking it with his hand, Xiao Xian felt that the Emperor of Nagarjuna was very resilient. Even if he used the power of the avenue, he would only be able to leave a shallow mark on it, and this mark would soon disappear. Xiao Longjun, I'm sorry. Originally, I thought that when you grow up, I might be able to make friends with you, but the current situation is really dangerous, so I can only borrow your power. Xiao Xian's face was solemn. Chi chi chi. Originally, he was planning to start devouring it after saying this. But who would have thought that after he said these words, the Emperor Nagarjuna actually made a move on his own initiative? As if there was something to say. Xiao Xian was a little surprised that this was true. He looked at the Emperor Nagarjuna in front of him in disbelief, patted his hands and continued to ask, "What's wrong? Are you still talking?" Xiao Xian was a little happy. In an instant, he felt that the Emperor Nagarjuna in front of him seemed to be a lot more friendly, and he could roughly understand the emotional fluctuations in the latter. Ask this question. Xiao Xian nodded quickly. He discovered that the Emperor Nagarjuna was about to be swallowed. Xiao Xian was a little confused for a moment. Communicate with spiritual thoughts, Xiaolu reminded, as if she couldn't stand it any longer. Does he know that things like divine thoughts are not only useful for magical weapons and auras, but also have a very important effect on monsters and monsters? Xiao Xian was puzzled. Didn't you say that if you want to refine the Emperor of Nagarjuna, you can have the physical fitness of the Golden God realm? What's wrong? So what does this mean? King Nagarjuna, tell me, do you want to be swallowed by me? Xiao Xian asked with a smile, like a bad uncle holding candy. However, there was no anger or fear in this little thing. Instead, there was a kind of excitement. You know, for so long, he has never taken the initiative to care about this little thing. Hearing this, Xiaolu said helplessly, do you know how to refine it? Could it be that Emperor Nagarjuna actively wished to be devoured by him? It doesn't seem to be that difficult to know what the Emperor Nagarjuna means. Thinking of this, he was ready to start refining. Chi chi chi. Emperor Nagarjuna made a sound, but judging from his spiritual thoughts, Xiao Xian did not feel any objection. Xiao Xian turned on his spiritual thoughts. For a moment, Xiao Xian was a little ready to make a move. This actually made him a little surprised and unbelievable. Now, since we have such means. In fact, he doesn't really want to do anything to the Emperor of Nagarjuna. After all, since it is called the Emperor of Nagarjuna, it must have some extraordinary abilities. Since it can be used, why make enemies? Do you need Xiaolu to guide you for such a simple matter? Shen Nian, why did I forget this? Is it nothing more than extracting the essence of flesh and blood from Emperor Nagarjuna and making it his own? What's so great about this? What do you mean? I don't seem to understand. Xiao Xian became interested. At that time, he just knew that the Emperor of Nagarjuna was the emperor among the Nagarjuna tribe. He had the most noble status and would become the leader of the Nagarjuna tribe in the future. But that was only after I grew up. It's still far behind now. How can I take the initiative to speak now? Refining. As a result, now, this little thing can take the initiative to express kindness to him. That means you agreed. How else can it be refined? Yeah. But at this time, he was stopped by Xiaolu again. Chi chi chi, Emperor Nagarjuna made another voice. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1220. Then give it a try and see if your method can refine the Emperor of Dragon Tree, Xiaolu said with disdain on his face. Just try it. Xiao Xian didn't care. Even Emperor Nagarjuna has taken the initiative to recognize him. Is there any trouble left? At that moment, Xiao Xian also used the power of his skills and began to slowly invade the body of Emperor Nagarjuna. At first, he thought it would be a simple matter. but gradually, he felt that something was wrong. The power of the great avenue in his body, which was not weak, was actually in the body of Emperor Nagarjuna, and he could not penetrate it no matter what. This was the first time he encountered this situation. To know. As the most important cultivation force on the Dao continent, the power of the avenue should be omnipotent, but Xiao Xian found that his power of the avenue could not invade the skin of Emperor Nagarjuna. What's going on? Do you mean to use the soul? Xiao Xian was a little confused. You can try, Xiao Lu said with a smile. Okay, Xiao Xian was more serious this time. The majestic divine soul was released, and the entire room was under his control. However, facing the Emperor Nagarjuna, it still had no effect. The skin of this thing is so hard. Xiao Xian was shocked. After soul exploration just now, he unexpectedly discovered that he could not feel the presence of Emperor Nagarjuna at all in the room. However, when he opened his eyes and looked, the Emperor Nagarjuna was clearly here. What's going on? Could it be said that Emperor Nagarjuna still has the ability to block the detection of divine souls? For a moment, Xiao Xian was a little surprised, and couldn't help but use the power of the soul again, but the detection result this time was still similar to before, nothing was detected. Incredible. After Xiao Xian's investigation failed, he suddenly felt a little surprised. If it is said that the Emperor Nagarjuna has the ability to block the detection of divine souls, doesn't this mean that if he swallows the Emperor Nagarjuna, he can obtain the ability to shield the detection of divine souls? Thinking of this, he couldn't help but get excited. You know, on the great Dao continent. Apart from the method of using spiritual treasures to detect, the simplest method for cultivators to detect is soul detection. If he has a way to shield the soul from detecting, and combines it with the attack technique of the dead soul cone and the movement technique of the time and space wall, his strength will definitely be greatly improved in the cemetery of the old man in the valley. Thinking of this, Xiao Xian also remembered the scene when he met the Emperor Nagarjuna for the first time. At that time, he really didn't rely on his soul to discover the Emperor of Nagarjuna. On the contrary, even if he found the location of the Emperor Nagarjuna, he still had no way to determine what the Emperor Nagarjuna was. After throwing this thing into the space magic weapon, he didn't have time to pay attention. He didn't expect that this thing could evolve to this point in such a short period of time. This was definitely something he couldn't believe. What's wrong? What are you thinking about? As for what Xiao Xian is thinking in his head, Xiaolu sometimes feels a little confused. I'm thinking, maybe there really is some secret in the body of this Emperor Nagarjuna, which can actually block the perception of the soul. Xiao Xian couldn't help but said, with this, I'm afraid it's not something ordinary people can do. Good. You feel right. After hearing Xiao Xian's words, Xiao Lu also nodded. I have to say that sometimes your senses are indeed very keen, and you can actually make such accurate judgments. Was praised by Xiao Lu. Xiao Xian also scratched the back of his head a little bit. Seemingly feeling that Xiao Xian was indeed very talented, Xiao Lu also continued, speaking of which, if you can really swallow the Emperor of Nagarjuna perfectly, you might have a chance to extract this soul shielding power from the Emperor of Nagarjuna. Ability. It doesn't sound that easy, Xiao Xian couldn't help but said. Of course. If it is really that simple, doesn't it mean that anyone who wants to get the power of Emperor Nagarjuna can do it? Xiao Lu asked rhetorically. However, before Xiao Xian could say anything more, Xiao Lu tapped his finger, and a green light penetrated into Xiao Xian's head. This is exactly Xiao Lu's understanding of the emperor who swallowed Nagarjuna. Xiao Xian just felt that a strange understanding suddenly appeared in his head, and then, these understandings slowly integrated into his body and became a means of understanding for him. This really surprised him. You must know that any method of understanding requires the practitioner to spend time and energy to slowly understand it. There is no such thing as Xiaolu. Can you get such power with just a little effort? Is this a bit too novel? Hurry up and understand it, and then absorb this Emperor Nagarjuna. Xiao Lu said directly, since this Emperor Nagarjuna is not hostile to you, then naturally it is the best thing. Good. Xiao Xian and Xiao Lu have known each other for such a long time. This was not the first time that the two helped each other, so Xiao Xian was not polite and directly used the power of understanding in his body to slowly devour the body of the Emperor Nagarjuna. With Xiaolu's swallowing method. At this time, Xiao Xian clearly felt that the skin of the Emperor Nagarjuna, which was originally extremely hard, slowly felt loose, and a trace of his soul quickly penetrated into the body of the Emperor Nagarjuna. Xiao Xian was surprised to find out. Inside the body of Emperor Nagarjuna, there is actually something that is not found in ordinary treasures. It is a red energy core the size of a fist. He felt that the reason why the Emperor of Nagarjuna was so hard. The reason should lie in this energy core. If he could rely on any means to devour this energy core, his physical strength would also be greatly improved. Think of this. Xiao Xian was no longer hesitant. Continue to follow Xiao Lu's devouring method to let the power of the soul invade into the energy core. Originally, he thought he would encounter some obstacles. But who knew that after touching the real energy core, his soul power penetrated in without any hindrance. Not only. He also felt that the red energy core was shrinking slightly, and the energy in it penetrated into his body like a thread. Is this devouring? Xiao Xian couldn't help but talk to himself. At the same time, he felt that his body, which had been strengthened by the exquisite dragon body pill, was gradually getting stronger. He couldn't believe this feeling. However, even he had to admit that this feeling of slowly getting stronger was really great.